Hey guys, Brisbane indie punk Semantics are releasing their debut album Paint Me Blue this Friday. Here to talk to us all about it is vocalist Callum and drummer Mitch. How are you guys?
Doing well, thanks. How are you?
Oh, I'm excellent. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, really well, thank you.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear it. Pretty excited to get this piece of work out.
Massively.
Yeah, it's
Awesome.
felt like the longest time coming.
Oh yeah, trust me, we'll touch on that in a second. We've had a few singles from the release so far. The most recent being "This Love Could Kill You." The song covers a pretty powerful topic of domestic abuse. I wanted to ask you how the reaction has been so far to this track in particular.
You want to take that, Mitch?
Sure. So yeah, response-wise, it's been really good. Callum and I wrote the song based off unfortunate sort of situation that a couple of our friends were in, and we kind of felt like it needed to be shed light, and we're really nervous sort of about, I guess, approaching it coming from our perspective, but we felt it was far too important just to kind of sleep on or not even really address. So we, had tons of butterflies putting it out there, but the response itself has been incredible. We've had a lot of people reaching out to us and sort of saying that they get the message and they understand it, and they're really appreciative of it. So I feel like for us, it's a really big kind of thank you from us to us, around us. I don't know. It's been really good.
That's really beautiful, and I think your band has never really been covering heavy topics is no new feat, I guess, for Semantics. But yeah, this one in particular, like it's such a, I don't want to say like, relevant topic right now, because I'm sure that because it kind of sounds like you've released it for that, but of course you haven't.
Yeah.
I mean, like it does hit home with a lot of people, and it is really a current conversation that we're talking about. So I just want to thank you for releasing it. And I love that you said in particular that the thank you is kind of the response that you're getting. And I'm glad that it's speaking to people, because it is a really powerful track.
Yeah, 100%. And that's it. Like it's not us topic grabbing or anything like that.
Yeah.
So that was our biggest worry, was that people were just concerned about that. But it genuinely came from honest experience within our friend group, and it was something that we were kind of none the wiser about. And that's sort of reflected in the lyrics that you kind of just go about your day and
Yeah.
exist. Not really showing what's behind the door. And once that door was open for us, we were kind of taken aback. So we felt it was incredibly important and something that we wanted to be able to sort of just put in the spotlight for a little bit and kind of flag that and address that for anyone that's listening, really.
I think you've done it in a really beautiful and genuine way as well, especially talking about, a personal experience with your friends. And I'm sorry that you guys had to go through that. And I hope it was well received by your friend. I guess with your band, the way that you do make such, I guess, catchy tracks about such strong topics is kind of what's built a little bit of a name for you. We hear so much more of that on Paint Me Blue. I guess, how keen are you for people to hear the whole album and pick up on all of the different things that you wanted to sing about?
Go, Callum. That's all you, baby.
I'm like really, really excited, but I'm so nervous for so many reasons. Like, Mitch and I kind of do all of our lyrics together, but most of the time songs kind of start with something that I'm working on, thinking about, and big part of this album is that half of it was written during a breakup I was going through as well, and it was all just a lot of feelings flying around everywhere, constantly, and constantly changing. And it was happening even while we were recording. Lyrics were changing based on what was going on, kind of in a really immediate sense. And it was cool because we built our own studio and I recorded it all here. I'm at our studio now, and so we were afforded a lot of time and flexibility to be creative.
That's awesome. and not something a lot of people get.
Yeah, it was a real privilege. But it's also just meant that we were kind of sat there just scratching our heads for days and weeks, kind of being like, well, we're not really on any producer or engineer's clock right now. It's all our own. So like we have to decide when we're done with this. So I'm really, really nervous to hear what we thought was finished when we finished it. And, you know, who knows like what we could have changed if we just sat on it forever. So yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to see what everyone thinks.
Just part 2 like remix album and change it up or something in a year's time, or just new music. I'm sure you'll go through a lot more experiences once this one comes out, and hopefully no more traumatic breakups. From the bottom of my heart, I know how awful they are. But I'm like, personally, every track resonated with me, and I can't wait for everyone to hear it. The album itself, you know, it's kind of short but sweet. There's just the 10 songs. Musically, though, it really starts off with bang with the opening track, Carousel. It sets this kind of high energy tone from the get-go. I said earlier we would touch on it with sort of how long it took for this to come together. You guys have, you know, been a band for 5 years now. It must have felt like this was such a long time in the making. Like, other than, you know, sort of sitting in the studio and working on it, what was where did this start? How did it become like Paint Me Blue? How did it become what it is now?
Kind of started at the beginning of the COVID lockdown in 2020. So we'd done our 2019 EP, and then we recorded 4 tracks, which had SDE, Codependent, Blue Light, and Firelink. We recorded those kind of as singles. We hadn't really thought about doing another EP or album yet. We were kind of just making more songs and fleshing it out and working out what the plan was. And then, I don't know, during the tour with Sly Withers, we picked up the deal with Side One, and we were like, all right, I guess.
Congratulations on, by the way. How good is that?
Thank you. Yeah, that was like a dream come true. That's like our collective favorite roster of albums. So it's like a massive honor being involved and becoming part of that legacy. But yeah, that was just like a bit of a kick up the bum, and we were like, all right, let's start making an album. And Mitch and I were living together. We started writing more songs together and thinking about it like an album, you know, because when you write singles, a lot of people are going to pretend they don't do this, but they all go, oh, we should write something for the radio, you know? And like, it's really easy to get in that headspace, and it's not good for you. So we were like, no. Nah.
Difference between a standalone, and then a body of work, of course.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally. And that was it. Like, we were focused on, you know, the year prior doing a few singles, things that we were like, yeah, these are some kind of like poppy songs that we've been writing, so let's put them out as singles, you know. But then, yeah, I don't know, we had all these other ideas, things we wanted to try, and we were like, well, the album's the place where we want to do it as a collective body of work, not as something that we want to, you know, service to the radio or anything, but just something that we want people to just sit down and listen to the whole 40 minutes of it and just soak up whatever's going on.
As an albums gal, I appreciate that so much. Like, it's I know a lot of people get into playlisting and things like that, but for me, I'll pick an album and I'll press play, and it's going from song 1 to the end. Like, that's it for me. So I love that you can approach it as like, okay, well, you know, it is different. We're not just making a song, we're making a whole body of work. So love that you mentioned that. I think that's really great.
It's all about backgrounds, you know. We're all album people. We all grew up with CDs, so you know. So, and we all grew up in shitty old Ford cars that didn't have an aux cable in them. So it was your CDs that you'd listen to your music on, and the best playlist you'd have is a compilation you'd have to burn from your LimeWire. You know, just. A proper CD was always going to sound better, and you were going to just enjoy and appreciate that artist. So we're all album people.
I love that. What about for you, Mitch? What was the sort of creative process like for you, and putting your piece on it?
It was actually to date, probably the best fun and most challenging thing, because I remember when it kind of came about, and I was sort of saying to Callum in the initial concepting, and I was just like, we have to approach this in a completely different way from any way that we've written before, because I kind of want the songs on there that don't make sense as a standalone. I kind of want to put a bit of mood and empathy into the way that we're playing, and you know, you can't write just a random song and put it out as a single. So for me, I was so excited for the opportunity to kind of flex our ability to be able to get more creative, have more fun, and deliver it in a way that we wouldn't have traditionally done before. But at the same time, it's incredibly terrifying because you want it to sound good at the same time. So, but having the added benefit of being able to do it in our own space, and not on someone's time, it meant that it gave us the opportunity. I'm a glass half empty guy, so yeah, had I been driving the wheel of this, we would still be writing the album, and there'd be still something more to be done. But I'm really happy with what we sort of delivered. I love the creative elements and the things that we've changed in it to get it to where it is today, and I'm just so excited to be able to put it out and get the greater population's opinion on it and see if we've hit the mark or not.
I love it. And I wanted to point out specifically like the track listing and how each song was put together. And there's one track I want to touch on in particular in just a moment, but before we get there, like I touched on before, you open with Carousel, and it's a shorter song, and it's like such high energy, and you set this tone, and then you go through this journey of all of these really emotional tracks, and it's the second last one for me. Oh my gosh, I can't remember the name of it, and it's written right here. Where are we? Leaf Wing. Leaf Wing. The 6-minute track. I just like, it's such a huge standout for me. I'm a sucker for a long song. I look forward like to songs that start somewhere and end up somewhere else. And that was just like a huge standout for me. I always ask this question of bands during release week. It's the worst question, and I'm sorry to do it, but I'm going to do it anyway. What song is your favorite that we haven't heard yet that you're most excited for people to hear?
Oh, that is a hard question, though.
Sorry.
I think, no, not at all. Like, I think Leaf Wing for me is probably a big standout, just because we did kind of touch on that element with Firelink, and then for us, that was like a love letter to like the soundscape, rather than, you know, good lyrics or catchy tunes or anything, and it kind of highlighted all of our collective backgrounds, and then we wanted to evolve on that and kind of really elevate that, and I think we've done a really good job of that. Like, I'm really proud of that. But I mean, there's Light a Glow. That song for me is special, and then it's transitioned straight into Didn't Want to. Like, it's almost jarring, but refreshing at the same time.
A transition on an album is like, the only thing better than a transition on an album is a key change on a song to me. It's like a running joke in all of my album reviews. I'm like, there's a key change. There's a transition.
I can't do key changes anymore. I've watched Frozen too many times, and now I'm like, oh man, that one step jump and the last double chorus, I'm just like, oh no.
How do you
we're back in the 80s.
How do you do it? What about you,
man.
Callum? What's your standout track that you're really excited for everyone to hear that we haven't heard yet?
Yeah, I've got a thing for Leaf Wing as well. Like Mitch said, we kind of hinted at the soundscapey stuff on Firelink, but I was too lazy to write lyrics, so we ended up just using dialogue from Dark Souls instead. For like sound. So going into Leaf Wing and actually like writing a song with very poetic lyrics, and then also just the most like balls to the wall heavy stuff that we've written yet.
So much
it's
music
just a
depth. Like
it's a mess, but to me it's like a really pretty mess. Like
it's like a it's like organized chaos, but not really, because it's like you want it to get there from the start. Like I love talking this much about one song, because every time I do, I get messages afterwards being like, I know what you meant, like from the interviews when people watch them. But I totally know what you mean. It is like, yeah, there's so many different musical elements to it, but the softer moments are so soft and the heavy moments are so heavy, and it's a masterpiece.
Oh, I don't know about that, but I'm definitely the most excited about that one. It's the most different. It's the least semantic song on the album, but at the same time, it's like probably the truest representation of us, because we're all metalheads. We all love super loud stuff. We all love super quiet stuff. We all love poetic lyrics. We all love simple lyrics. I mean, yeah, as long as there's guitars, we're good. Like, you know. So yeah, that's my pick for sure.
I love it. I seriously so look forward to seeing that song in particular, but really the whole record live. I just imagine such a delicious vibe when you're playing Leaf Wing. I just feel like it's going to absolutely go off. Especially when that powerful like chorus scream comes in. I'm just like, oh man, I'm going to be so invested. Can you spill any deets to us and our audience about when we might be able to see any songs from the album live?
We were working on a little headliner in July, just in Brisbane, where we'll probably give our first kind of tasting of the album. And then we've got some touring plans around Australia, probably 2 more tours this year.
Awesome.
So one of them, I think we're jumping on some supports with a cool band that we're friends with, and we'll work on some headline stuff as well.
Awesome. So happy to hear it. A lot of the times I ask that question and no one can really answer it. And yeah, I'm grateful for the insight. I think it'll be great. I can't wait to come along to a Melbourne show and vibe with all these tracks.
For sure. I mean, we want to play it live as soon as possible. We're not going to try to be secretive about it. If you're watching this video, go buy a ticket.
Hell yeah. Well, Paint Me Blue is out this Friday. I can't wait for you all to hear it. Thank you so much, Callum and Mitch, and good luck for release day.
Thank you so much.